Alright, aloha, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk one more time quick about the Kalalau Trail. After I posted my first hiking video, I got tons of response, plenty of questions, DM messages. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm gonna put the link up there. So I thought I'd make a quick video just about the basic or the most common questions I'm getting. So let's start. Number one is, what's the hardest part about the Kalalau Trail? No, it's not the hike, it's not what to bring and not to bring, hiking poles, micro spikes. The hardest part is to get yourself a permit. Getting a permit for the Kalalau Trail is like winning the lotteries nowadays. There is many reasons for that. I would say one is definitely the pandemic has pushed so many people to start hiking. I can tell. I've been hiking I'm from Switzerland originally. I always used to hike, but the numbers I see now on the trails is just doubled probably since compared to 2 years ago. And then the Kalalau Trail is normally one of the most famous trails in Hawaii. So this is on top of the list for lots of people. And the numbers allowed out there is very restricted. I think they only get like 60 permits or 80 permits a day or so. Now to get a permit, it is tricky. You have to get on the state website. I'm going to put the link below. You can only apply exactly a month in advance. So whatever date you plan to start the hike, a month ahead, you have to go on that website at 12 o'clock in the morning, Hawaiian time, and try to catch a permit. Normally by 12:10, 12:15, they're all gone. What I recommend you to do is a few days before your planned date, go on that site, make sure you know how it works, pick your places and all that. So when the day comes, you're ready to go. Another recommendation about the permit, there is a great Facebook group. It's called the Kalalau Trail. There is plenty of people talk about the permit struggle. Please, if you do get accepted into the group, don't just ask about the permit. Go into the search option first and kind of see what people were talking about it already. Just for any concern about the Kalalau Trail. It's a really nice group. I do see lately, especially like on all trails in the comments, people selling permits. Try not to do that. As you can see here, this is the check station at the trailhead. Okay, they actually do check the permit name with your ID. I hear lately there's even rangers on the trail checking your permit. So buying a permit from somebody, just private person, it's not a good idea. Another question I'm getting a lot is about the weather on Kauai. When to go and about the rain and how tricky it is. Kauai, some of you may know that, is considered to be one of the rainiest spots on the planet. Myself, I used to be one of those noisy helicopter pilots flying 8 times around the island all year long, 365 days a year. So I'm kind of used to the weather, or kind of familiar with the weather patterns. In general, as you can see here, this is the average rain. The summer months is always the best bet to have a dry hike out there. Even though now December last year was kind of dry too, but in general it's just June, July, August, even September is a pretty good time to head out there. Here is average rainfall. As you can see, the center of the island gets most of it, and most means anywhere between 300 to 390 inches a year. So there is some serious rain falling on Kauai. Understanding the rain or the weather patterns in Hawaii helps, and to do that you have to kind of see the big picture, the Hawaiian Islands. Other than most parts on the mainland and in Europe, where the weather generally comes from the west, here in Hawaii we got something called the trade winds. So the wind blows from the northeastern direction, and what that does, it picks up all the moist air over the ocean and pushes it onto the islands. So then depends on the height of those mountains, they kind of trap the moist air and you start to have rain. During the winter especially, there is some days where everything is reversed. That's when we call Kona wind days. So maybe October through February, there is times when you have those winds, then the whole weather pattern is just the other way around. But there's only a few days during the year where that is the case. So the trades, that's our standard. And I was talking about the moist air getting pushed up the mountains. If you ever go to the Big Island or maybe been before, you can see the extreme difference on the Big Island. Even from space, you can kind of see how the east side is much more green colors than the Kona Waikoloa side. And the reason for that is those big two mountains in the center, Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa. Mauna Kea, 13,800 foot, that's 4,200 meters, a little bit more. So what happened, they know that those two mountains, they normally totally block the moist air from crossing the island. That's why, again, it's super dry here on the west side. Now, going back to Kauai, it's a little bit different. Kauai, the highest peak here in the center, Mount Waialeale, that's only 5,150 foot. That's 1,570 meters. So what normally happens on the smaller islands, that moist air is getting pushed across the island. You get rain kind of all over. And again, Kauai, because it's the most northern of the main islands, gets most of it. It is, though, again, like I said, it's super hard to predict where it rains. When you go on those weather apps and it says, okay, chance of rain is 30% of rain or so, on a variable day, this is almost useless. You can be here in Lehue, that's where the airport is, that's where you arrive, and you get blue sky. You keep driving up towards the north, you pass Kapa, and it's just pouring down, you can't see anything. And then half an hour later, it's the other way around. So the weather in Kauai can be very sporadic, and again, it changes super, super quick. That's what I learned flying over there. It's just you on a rainy day, on a beautiful day, it's normally pretty steady, but when it's kind of rainy-ish, then it does change very quick. Another weather pattern we're getting here in Hawaii is called the sea breeze weather. Now that normally starts with a day with no wind in the morning. When you wake up, it's dead calm and it's normally nice blue sky. What happened though, as the sun comes out in the morning, that heats up the surface here of the islands quicker than it does the ocean, because the ocean water is kind of circulating. So then the moist air is getting sucked up those mountains, and all the way on the top you start to have clouds forming. That normally happens by noon and 11, 12, and then later you get some heavy downpours. The problem with that is you may be hiking down here or be down on the shore and it looks perfect, and down on the center of the island it's just pouring down, and that's sometimes when you get those flash floods, when those small little streams turn into raging rivers. So careful with that. I was talking about the weather forecast, how difficult it is, especially on Kauai. The most accurate is the rain radar, the Doppler radar. The only problem with it that is, it's not really a forecast. You can kind of see what the weather is doing right now, and you see where the rain is moving. So it doesn't tell you anything about like tomorrow or the day after. But that's what we used a lot for flying a go or no go. Kind of gives you a great idea how the weather is going to be the next few hours. I recommend, if it's forecasted to be really bad, don't even try to go. It's not going to be fun. If you don't believe me, just Google like storm on the Kalalau Trail and you can kind of see the conditions out there. It's not fun, it gets super slippery and it can become dangerous. What I did, I was out there for 3 days. When I got my permit, I actually got 4 days. So I had one extra day, so in case there was rain or a bad day forecasted, I had a little bit flexibility. Luckily, on my trip, I had not one drop of rain. Cell phone service, that's another question I'm getting. Yeah, I was just talking about the weather forecast. When you're out on the trail, even at the trailhead, there's no coverage. So you're on your own. It is a little bit of a problem. Nowadays, especially when I went out there, I saw so many hikers with the Garmin Mini or with the Solio GPS messenger. So there is, if you're in trouble, there is people out there can kind of call authorities if you have a problem or so. Or obviously you can bring your own. On the trailhead at Kauai, there is a payphone. When I was out there though, it wasn't working. What I did though, I walked back on the road to Haina State Park. That's about 20 minutes, just retracking the road. And there I had no problem with the cell phone. They also had a food truck there, which was great after the long hike. So that's normally as far as you have to go to call somebody if you, let's say you organize a pickup or so. And that goes right to the next question, how to get to and from the trailhead. That one is also asked a lot, and I would say the easiest is just to rent a car. There is a big parking area here at the trailhead. Now to park here overnight or to park anywhere, you have to have a permit too. Now this is a different permit. I'm gonna put the link below. There is some reportings of break-ins, especially overnight. Obviously, just don't leave anything valuable in your car. I would say normally you should be fine. Just obviously don't put stuff, electronics right in front by the window so people can see it. You may just ask for troubles. The second option is have somebody dropping you off and pick you up. There is some taxi services, you can organize that. Dropping off is not a problem. Picking up, it may be, since you never know how long it's going to take you to come back. Myself, I had the Solio messenger, so I could actually text my driver and he was there on time. It's no problem. Uber, Lyft, all those services, there's still not so many out on Kauai. You may be able to get dropped off at the trailhead, but being picked up, good luck. Just again, there is no cell phone coverage and there's not many drivers out there. So you better have something different organized. Another question getting a lot is what to pack. Again, trekking poles, micro spikes or not, tent, hammock, all that. I actually made a video already about that and I linked that up here. You can watch that here if you like. Other than that, I highly recommend the trail. It's definitely the most panoramic, the most scenic trail here in Hawaii. It is, I would say, if the weather is fine, it's not so hard. As long as you're used to carry the weight, it's obviously a big difference just walking those miles and then, or carry with you like 25 pounds of weight with you. So I highly recommend you kind of figure out what you're gonna bring and wherever you live, walk the same distance with the same weight. That gives you an idea how hard it's gonna be. Climbing up and down, it's not that hard here on the Kalalau Trail. Again, I talked about the permit, how hard it is, and yes, unfortunately, many hikers do not get a permit, especially not the dates they plan on being on Kauai. There is a second option, recommendation, that's on the Big Island, the Muliwai Trail. I did that last month. It's absolutely beautiful too. You don't get those beautiful ocean views during the hike, but when you arrive at Waimanu Valley on the Big Island, this is beautiful too. You can hike back to the Wailikai Fall. Show you a quick video here how that looks out there. It's absolutely spectacular. It's super peaceful. It's much easier to get a permit, especially during the weekdays. Weekends, sometimes many locals head out there too. I would say it's a little bit harder than the Kalalau Trail because you just have to climb up and down more. Again, the Mulivai Trail is mostly in the shade though, so it's not too bad. Other than that, again, if you do have a chance to head out to Kalalau, I highly recommend it. It's super nice. Lots of cool people out there. You're gonna make some friends, definitely. And again, you may bring back some great memories. Probably one of those never forget lifetime trips, I would say. The Napali Coast, spectacular. You see this coastline in many Hollywood movies. Kauai still is a Hollywood favorite for filming. So you definitely, if you do have a chance, go check it out. Again, thanks for watching. Enjoy the trail if you can. If you do subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate that. I see you all next time. Thank you so much. Aloha.